Next speaker is from Greece. It's Katerina Kanelidou. She is a professional certified coach by the ICF, leadership coach, trainer and mentor with 20 years experience in cross-cultural coaching. Katerina, you're kindly welcome.
Thank you very much, Irina. I'm very exciting and nervous at the same time. I'm very happy to be here with all of you. So good afternoon to everybody. And thank you, Dimitri, for inviting me and putting together this conference. Okay, Dimitri, I will need finally your assistance. So if you would like to share the slides. And the first one. Okay, let's start with some introduction until we do that. That's the first one. Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. Okay, well, I'm Katerina Kanelidou. I'm a leadership coach, trainer, and mentor. In 2009, I founded my own coaching business in Greece, where I'm based. But it was very clear for me from the beginning that I wanted to work globally without geographical or other limitations. So soon I started participating in international projects, and the last years I coach, train, and mentor people from around the globe. I also became Associate Director at Pivomo, a UK-based company, Associate at Asteris, member of the Harvard Business Review Advisory Council, and member of the Global Faculty of the International Coach Academy. The ability to coach, train, and mentor in English brought these opportunities. But today, I do not want to talk to you about the opportunities to grow our businesses that coaching in another language can bring us. Today, I want to talk to you about the opportunity to grow ourselves as coaches and increase the effectiveness of our coaching conversations. When I decided some years ago that I wanted to receive a formal education in coaching, I had to overcome a few obstacles. The biggest one was the language. You see, I wasn't fluent at all in English. My English was terrible. Sometimes it still is. But all the schools I wanted to study, they were all in English. So I did what we as coaches do best. I became a learner again. Which meant that I also experienced the insecurities and struggles of coaching in a language that I was not at all good yet. In this journey, I discovered that actually it was easier for me to coach someone in another language, and that as a client, I enjoyed that also more. Today, I invite my students who experience the same insecurity that I had to look at the other perspective of it, how their conversations become more effective because of the use of non-native language. So when the opportunity came to give this presentation to you, I was really excited because I could share some of these insights that I had, and we explore further with our students, with you together. We can pass to the second slide. Thank you. I didn't want to share just my insights. So I did have my assumptions of how it is helping me, but I wanted also to see, well, what about the others? How other coaches and other clients who experience coaching in non-native language find that this can be helpful for their own growth and development, for the coach's mastery. So I did a survey, and I was surprised to see that in this survey we had the participation of 46 coaches and 21 coaches, because the intention wasn't to do a formal research, but to test the assumptions. And I was also surprised to see the interest that coaches from many countries showed in this research, actually, this study. So what are the results that we have here? The first result that we can see, here you have actually a brief profile of the coaches that participated and the coaches. And when I say profile, it's about basically how they experience coaching in another languages. So we had the biggest percentage of coaches that they coach their clients in a non-native language, in their non-native language, or a big percentage also, 38% in their own native language. But at the same time, they could tick the boxes that it wasn't going to be in the coach's native language. And sometimes we had the case that it wasn't in the native language of neither of them. And you can see also here the profile of the coaches. Some of them were coached by a non-native speaker coach, but in their own native language. Other times in their non-native language by a native speaking coach. And sometimes both, they were non-native speakers. So that was, in brief, the profile. What results did we get? Let's start focusing first of maybe what is more interest for us at the beginning at the coaches, because what I asked was about the opportunities, the positive impact that it can have in the core competencies as they are defined by the ICF. I think now we can go to the next slide, and here we can see the percentages. So here were the overall percentages in each one of the core competencies. Well, we skipped the first one about ethics and legalities. I have to be honest, I was expecting high percentages in, for example, active listening or the communication, the awareness, but I was really surprised to see how percentages in designing actions and planning and goal setting in managing progress and accountability. So let's see what came up in each one of the core competencies. And if you would like, I will be happy to share with you after a copy of all the notes, actually, or the results. Okay, so 50% of participants reported that they see a positive impact in this competency in establishing the coaching agreement. They reported that there is a need to be absolutely clear. In that case, we assume less the coach is understanding and also the go without thinking. We pay more attention to the content, to the words and terms that we use, and we check understanding with the coachee. Some also reported that because it's another culture, it's more open to have a signed agreement in contrast with their own culture. All that leads to a ease in alignment, to more accurately regulated expectations, to clarity, and a simple and memorable agreement. What happens with the next core competency? Trust, establishing trust and intimacy. Here, we had 52% of participants who reported that they see a positive impact when they coach, when the coaching is in a non-native language, in a foreign language. The clarity and the attention given when creating the coaching agreement already has an impact on trust between the coach and the coachee. Additionally, they reported deeper curiosity and exploration, respect to the diversity. The coach shows easily and faster her own vulnerability. We establish rapport not only with our words, but also with the tone of voice, the pace, all the non-verbal cues, signals that usually we wouldn't pay attention if it was in our own native language. They're more resourceful in ways of communication. There is also the case of clients who are relieved to have a coach outside their culture or country. And actually this, in certain cases, we can see it very often. All the above leads to a connection at a deeper level, additional power to the relationship, stronger sense of intimacy and trust, and safe space where the coachee opens up faster. We also see lightness and reinforced cooperation. Let's move on with the next core competency, coaching presence. Now the percentage, as it is expected, is increasing, and here we have 63% of participants who reported that it has a positive impact. They reported that they are more mindful, they are more alert, focused, attentive, engaged, and concentrated. There is an extra effort from their part. They are also more open to not knowing and tapped to their intuition. Intuition was a word that came very often in many of the competencies. We see opportunities for better connection, less danger of falling into routine, increased levels of mindfulness, something most coaches actually reported. And there was an interesting article in the ICF that connects the mastery of coaching with mindfulness. And the coach's development. I would like to share at this point the phrase of one of the participants, one of the coaches who wrote, "If you want to do a good job in coaching, you must experience this challenge." And next competency is active listening, where we have what was, for me at least, expected, an 80% percentage of participants who reported a positive impact. Now, active listening tools are more consciously applied. And when we say tools, we are saying, or techniques, we are referring to paraphrasing, rephrasing, which becomes natural, summarizing, reflecting, and taking understanding. The coaches ask more, and they also assess, they evaluate less. They listen at more levels. They don't listen only of what is said, but they also listen for what is not said. They listen for, they observe the body language, the emotions, they listen for the energy, the beliefs, they listen for intent rather than relying on assumptions, which can happen when both are native speakers. There is an effort to listen and understand in depth. The opportunities here are very significant. We have the clarification that it is swifter and easier. And here is contrary to the belief that it will be harder, because someone would make the assumption that if it's not native, it will be harder to have this clarification. We have more focus, as it is less easy to have the mind start wandering. We have to stay concentrated. We elimination of chit-chat from the coachee. The coachee needs to go to the bottom line. And also there is a cultural distance that brings less assumptions, prejudice, and judgment. Powerful questioning. Powerful questioning has a 63% of participants who replied that it has a positive impact. Active listening and presence, the coaching presence, have a direct impact on our questions, on how we make questions with our clients in our coaching conversations. The coaches reported that questions are more clean, more open, they are more simple, shorter, and more precise. There was the phrase here, less words, extra attention for choice of words. The questions are to the point, they are cutting through. We are mindful of the cultural diversity and the questions challenge the coach's beliefs and frames of reference in a curious and respectful way. Some interesting reminders that we had here from the coaches, the replies of the coaches, was the following. One, the effectiveness of keys. Keys is keep it super simple. The second reminder is that less could be more. And the third is to adopt the same stance with the other clients. So the coach who was experienced this impact and that was caused by how she was operating in this case with a non-native client, she said, okay, that's a good reminder for me to do the same, to have the same stance with my other clients also and have equally effective conversations. Okay, next competency, direct communication. Again, some would make the assumption that because we are not native in the language, both of us, there might be a challenge with the direct communication. Yet 65% of participants reported that it has a positive impact. And it is, if we now think about the previous, what it is said, we can understand that not only the questions are more clear and precise, but the overall communication. The language that is used is thoughtfully selected and clear. The coaches have increased awareness of the impact of the words they use, and they use more direct vocabulary. The limitation is in words. When we don't speak perfectly the language, we have a limitation in words, makes the coach or the client speak more directly without any, let's say, decorations or making the description more complicated. Coaches step out of cultural codes and bring more objectivity. Also, we talk less, we give more space to the client, and the communication flows. In this competency, we also had some great reminders. The reminder was, the first one is the same as before, less is more, and is natural when coaching in another culture, language actually. So there was the observation that actually it was natural in that case. And the reminder that keep it, again, the keys, keep it super simple. But we had an additional opportunity here, not to fool around even in the native language. So there was a learning here that we can take that now, what we see, we observe, and have the same direct communication even in our non-native language. Next is the creating awareness. Here, the impact that was reported was 59% of participants. That is linked to powerful questioning and active listening. The coaches, that was very actually interesting here, because the coaches reported that they get out of the way more, allowing the coachee the space for awareness to emerge. As the reflection is more intense in searching precise expression of ideas and feelings, we think more. There was also the cultural diversity, the foreign perspective, even the use of a foreign language by a coachee that helps see things from different point of views and facilitates awareness. I know that we had a session previously with that if I'm correct, we talked about that. The attention also at the non-verbal communication and the listening for the energy, the tone of voice, etc., makes it easy to detect any incongruencies. The opportunity that we have here is to have a broader awareness. Next were the competencies that I was surprised actually to see such high scores. The first one is designing action. Positive impact by 49% of participants. With the awareness that words create worlds, so words create worlds, things are articulated carefully when designing actions too. There was more clarity, checking on different options, choosing steps and finding own way. They're simple, bolder, and straightforward actions. There was observed an increased commitment from the coachee, and take time to find out what is culturally acceptable and the impact on others, together the coach and the coachee. The conclusion that keep it simple works very well here too. I have to tell you that I had to reflect back and compare my sessions when I coach Greek clients and when I coach other clients, and I said, okay, yes, it makes sense. It makes sense also for me as a client. Planning and goal setting. Positive impact, 43% of participants said that there is a positive impact. We have simple and more direct goals. They are clearly defined and clearly explored. And we make assumptions here. Usually when we hear a word, we are going to make assumptions, but with the case that we are going to explore more, we have also that clarity. Even the dates are more focused. And as both coach and coachee tend to be more precise. So it is becoming a habit then to be more precise. Intuition is present and strong here too. With intuition and simple language, the coaches facilitate the process and the understanding of it. It's easier for the coachee to own the actions, and the commitment is increased. There is also a cultural awareness and sensitivity when exploring and creating a plan. Many coaches have connected the opportunities that they had with the cultural awareness and the cultural competency. And finally, we have managing progress and accountability. And that took me by surprise. Although there is a struggle, I will tell you information. When we try to translate exactly the word accountability in Greek, we cannot do it, because the connotations are very different. So they have negative connotations. So we want to use accountability, how you can, increase the accountability on something, how you can keep yourself accountable to that. But if we translate that literally, if we use the Greek language, it's not going to work. But that doesn't happen. There is a positive impact by 41% of participants reported here. They observed that what was decreased was that they had simpler lists. The coachee had simpler lists and less excuses. There was a clarity on accountability. It was easier to express it in a foreign language. In Greek, it's definitely the same. Sometimes we don't use the Greek term. We use just the English, even with the Greek clients. And there is more attention, and that is within the agreement. And one more time, we had also intuition here. So we went through all the core competencies, and we saw what the coaches that participated in this survey observed. To be honest, even if I had just one answer in one competency with just one observation, I will have a look at that. Because I will have, as coaches, we have our curiosity. As coaches, I would like to know, okay, what is it that this coach sees that I cannot see or haven't seen yet? And I will be curious to see. Now, moving forward, how is coaching in a foreign language an opportunity for the mastery of the coach? Well, from what we have said, we can already make some assumptions, safe assumptions in this case. Well, first, it helps us focus on rapport. We bring more flexibility and diversity in tools and resources. We go beyond what is being said more readily. We learn to be fully present. Our listening skills are improving to understand. We listen to understand. We listen deeply with sensitivity. We listen more and more attentively for all signals, verbal and non-verbal. We become better at the use of the language. We use a cleaner language, and we have cleaner questions. We get out of the content and sit in the space with the coachee. We practice open and non judgmental thinking. It is easier to let go our own beliefs. There is a increase in intuition, which we start trusting more. Higher levels of mindfulness and awareness of ourselves as coaches and our process. It opens us up to new multiple perspectives and challenges our own assumptions. We learn a lot about cross-cultural values. There is an improvement, as is already mentioned, in cultural awareness and competency. There is a lightness also when we coach in another language. And there are more authentic coaching relationships. We also have an impact, an opportunity for the self-development. We put ourselves in the place of a new self. The communication and interaction with coaches from other countries, the participation in events without borders, webinars like this one, the reading material, all that helps us access to more knowledge. Something that it is very important, we keep our beginner's mind. And we become a true apprentice of our coach's mental map. And last one is the opportunity to become a better person, which I have highlighted because I think that's the most, the first above all. Now, except of the opportunities for the mastery of the coach, there are opportunities for the effectiveness of the coaching process. Here I will briefly mention to you, I'm aware of the time, I'm going briefly to share with you the opportunities that were reported of the effectiveness of the coaching process when the coaching happens in a native language. There is a better alignment, a stronger relationship, both parties are more concentrated and the effectiveness is higher. The straightforward structure, enabling better awareness to emerge, simplicity, easiness, going straight to the point, finding new words extends the range of the possible, of what is possible. It is easier to bring up touchy issues, and there are more resources to share with the clients, for example, books. If we can see the next slide, Dimitri, there is something that I could from one of the replies that I would like to share with you. Working with people from other countries and cultures gives us the opportunity to see what we are not, that we are not so different after all. As we build trust, our shared human experience becomes more apparent to both parties, and the differences become a source of interest. And through one another, we learn more about ourselves. We have a few minutes left. Let's move to the next slide and see something very interesting about the coaches. Now, one would assume that a coachee will prefer to be coached in their own native language, right? Well, at least these 21 people who responded, none of them checked that button. So the questions were, I prefer to be coached in my native language. It depends on the coach's expertise. I have no preference by a native speaker, by a non-native speaker. So the biggest percentage was that it depends on the coach's expertise, or there is no preference at all. And a smaller percentage in my native language. So I think that, well, although we have a small sample of just 21 coaches, it will be interesting to take it to a larger scale and see what is the excuse, fear, or assumption that we can bust here. Dimitri, do we have time to move forward with some things about the benefits for the coachee?
So, Katerina, you still have 15 minutes.
Okay, great.
15 minutes for you. Yeah.
Okay, I would like to have some space also for questions. So let's move forward really fast to the benefits of the coachee. I think it's the next slide also that we can see that. Again, I just did the survey, so I didn't have the time, you know, to create better slides. So apologies for that. So some of the benefits when being coached in a foreign language, either yours or your coaches or both, what opportunities have you observed? That was the question directed to the coaches. I liked especially the first one. Let go the perfectionism. There was another thing, another type of thinking, to be open, to pay more attention on the non-verbal communication. So we have the same opportunity as we have for the coach. Have more clarity to express what you want, no mentoring, and easier actually to express oneself. There are new ways to express feelings and less emotional bond than when using my native language. Another opportunity is to be introduced to new words that reveal new values and different thinking, and maybe these can express us better. To be more aware of possible perspectives offered due to cultural norms. A possibility to understand diversity, and having a brilliant coach. I think that was my coachee who wrote that. And a nice metaphor that was given was, it is like swimming underwater with goggles rather than swimming in water with the sight above. what are the advantages that you see in coaching in another language for your own growth and development? So one was about the opportunities, but what about the growth and development of the coaching? And let's briefly share again some of the insights we have here. I think they get different feedback and insights that are not that it is not easy to get when they share the same culture with someone. So here we have the cultural factor in this that played a big role. And when they also, the coachee feels that when they are coached by someone from another country, they can be more objective. And they can see perspectives different. The coach can see different perspectives than the coachee, and learn from other corners of the planet. That was also something that helps their growth and development. To have new opportunities, to have another view, to be more creative. The possibility to work with an experienced coach from another country or from another culture. The effort, we saw that the coach makes more effort in specific areas. The client also made more personal effort to get the maximum benefit out of each session. The difference also in the meaning of foreign words triggers attempts at translation, which enlightens and sensitize words in the native language that sometimes we not realize the depth and breadth of. Then also the awareness of a different thinking process and approach. And also there was the observation that like thinking in both culture, language is possible, and switching from one idea to another to make ourselves understood. In a way, our brain is more activated and we feel more alive in everything we express. And another one said that working in a foreign language has helped me to enhance my self-confidence. For me, what has done for me? For me, it brought freedom. Every time as a coachee in this case, every time I get coached in my non-native language, I have the freedom. I have the freedom to be disengaged from the emotional burden of the words, to be free from the stereotypes, from the excuses, from everything, from patterns. And I also feel free to be coached by someone who is not in my culture, where they cannot make any projections, they cannot make any connotation or anything. So for me, it's absolutely freedom. I think let's move on to the next slide. Okay. Before we open to questions, there is a learning here. Before we were exchanging messages with Mitri. My laptop, brand new laptop, almost collapsed. I don't know if it's going to crash. I woke up with a high fever, and it seems that everything that could go wrong today is going wrong. The learning here is that we do not need to be perfect. We just need to be present. The same is with our clients when we are coaching. We do not need to be perfect. We need to be present and mindful. Okay, that a good time to open up for questions?
Yeah, exactly. There are a lot of them. So, question from Marina. What does help you to communicate with foreign clients?
Say that again, please, Irina.
What does help you to communicate with foreign clients?
You mean when we are working together or before they become our clients?
Please clarify who wrote this question. So, just a second, working. When you're working with a client.
Okay, not sure I have understand this question, and that's a good example of the challenges, because now we can explore further. What is it? I'm not sure what is now that is being asked, what is helping me working with the clients. Is it, can we have directly this, is it possible to have directly?
Is it possible for Katerina to see the chart?
It's Irna. Irna? No, I see Irna. How does help you to work, communicate with foreign language? Okay.
So
to understand them.
You can see the chat, yeah?
With a lot of questions. With a lot of questions, without any pressure of feeling comfortable not knowing, with curiosity also. It's practically the same. When I started coaching, I was for many years a trainer, and I was also a therapist. I was training also other therapists, so I was a lot in the space of knowing. So I had to release of that. And my mantra was the phrase of Socrates, I know nothing. So I took that, I wrote in a piece of paper, and I put it in front of my desk. And every time before entering any session, I would put that, I know nothing, and I know nothing. And sometimes I had to do also that while I was working with a client, native or non-native. When we have the challenges of the language, we make more questions, and actually here is the opportunity to simplify the way we communicate, and also find other creative and fun ways to communicate and exchange the information and have this dialogue. I don't know if that answers the question to Ina.
So next one. Katerina, thank you for sharing this information. And what sources do you use to find clients from different countries?
I heard that question to Herman before. Well, I don't use any resources to find clients from other countries. The clients that I have, they all come from referrals, both inside and outside of Greece. So I just put myself out there. I started doing things for others. I worked for many projects of the ICF for 4 years. I went to conferences. I learned more and more. I offered my help every time that someone asked for my help. So and I started coaching whenever I had the opportunity. I'm sometimes embarrassed to say that I don't do any marketing. My clients find me usually, so it's all basically by referrals.
What is the percentage of your foreign clients? How and where do you find them? About foreign clients.
Most of the clients are outside of Greece, like 80%. They are outside of Greece. The way I find it's again referrals.
Katerina, thank you very much. Your observations are really helpful. Where would you recommend to look for international clients? And what to start from in terms of beginning coaching with foreign clients?
Where to start? I think that goes together. There are many strategies that you can start with foreign clients. One, we have the opportunity with the ICF with reciprocal coaching. Still, they are foreign language, and we can use that to increase our self-confidence in coaching in another language. So we can take advantage of that. And just put yourself out there. You can use the social media. You can go to networking events outside, or business events, conference, seminars, and anything outside of your country. Also inside your country, there are communities, expats, and different communities inside your country that you can find, and you can again invite and find an opportunity there and start coaching. So it's as Herman said before, just do it and find this first smaller step that you can take. See around the resources that are already there. Start with the immediate network, the immediate community that you have. Ask others and go step by step.
What is the specific of Greece coachee?
Oh, what is specific of Greek coaching? As I said to a client of mine that we're working recently, whiners. I'm just joking. When I was going to ask to be coached by a coach on something very specific, I wanted to finish something. I told her, listen, I just want you to keep me accountable. I procrastinate all the time, so I will hire you just to keep me accountable. And I warned her, but be careful. I will give you excuses. I'm very good at giving you excuses. I will bring you any excuse. Do not buy them. Do not buy for any excuses. You will still have to ignore my excuses and keep me accountable. So that gives an idea.
Thank you very much. And may I ask you a question as well? My question is, you talked about cross-cultural values. And what do you think? Do people from different countries have different values?
Well, we can be in the same culture and have different values. So the values depend on many things. The fact that we are in the same culture and we have to define the culture doesn't necessarily mean that we are the same, that we embrace the same beliefs, that we stand for the same principles, that we share the same values. When I teach the module of diversity with my students, I start with the phrase, diversity is the only one true thing we all have in common. There might be, and depending on the cultures, there might be some challenges or not. What is important for the coach is to have this awareness and to increase their mindfulness if that's something that it is not going to work for them. So if they feel comfortable working with, if they see that there is a conflict there in the value, so if there is a value system that they don't feel comfortable working with, and that's also an ethical issue for us as coaches.
Thank you. So we have 2 minutes. Dear colleagues, do you have questions to Katerina? So if no, so should we continue? Dmitry?
Okay, Katerina, maybe you have some final message. I love this question, and I ask it if we have some time left. So what's your final message to all Russian-speaking coaches who would like to expand target audience and do cross-cultural coaching?
Well, a part of the message that we don't have to be perfect, we just have to be present. I was reminded of one conversation that we had in a discussion with Fernando Flores. So there he said that what coaching happens is we are bilingual. The coach is always bilingual because we speak our language and also we speak the language of our coachee. And we want to become fluent in these two languages. So we are always bilingual. If we think that because we are coaching in a non-native language, we are coaching in the native language of both of us, there are no two languages, we have to think again and reflect more on that. So Lassa's methods have that you are already bilingual, you are already working with your language and the language of your coachee, and you become fluent in the language of your coachee. So it's just another way of expressions. It's just more different words.
Okay, Katerina, thank you so much for being with us, enjoying from Greece. It's wonderful. Thank you.
I like the word map, very appropriate for today.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much. And I will happy to share the results that I shared with you today. So you can just email me or contact me in any case or through Dmitry, and I will happily share with you.
I will do that, Katerina. No worries.
Thank you.
Bye.